watched him do it on a hard surface table. I watched him do it on the bounciest table in Tunica, and it was the same. It was it was the same every time. One of the most beautiful shots I've ever seen.
So let's give credit where credit is due. The first time I've seen the hell the shot was called the helicopter shot. The first time I saw it
Right.
was in Vegas years and years and years ago. VDC, Vegas
Right.
Dice
Right.
Guy, is the
Yep.
person that was shooting
Vegas
it.
dice controller. Yep.
Vegas Dice controller. That's right. And and I believe he's the one that came up with the mechanics of it. It or he took it and made it his own and perfected it. But regardless of that, I don't care who owns shots and stuff like that. I don't think shots should be trademarked. It doesn't matter. But I saw him shoot it, and I played with him on the craps table. Very very nice guy. Um, if he will he will take his time throwing it, but he always it was a beauty to see. And I have I don't know, maybe because of my years and years of being a software engineer and architect, I can break things down and see them in my head clearly and stuff like that. So when I see a shot thrown a couple times, it's like sinks here, and I can repeat. I can go in, break it down, and repeat it. Howard got in trouble because of that.
Oh, really?
Uh, yeah.
That's another story I need to hear then.
All right. Well, I'll cut into that one real quick because it's a quick story. So he used to teach the little Joe crafts, and where they just take the dice and roll it.
Yeah.
So um, but Howard was true to his to his word that unless there's a class, he won't teach and show these tosses because it's theirs, and they would like to teach their students. I was at the breakfast at one of the railroad stations in Vegas with Howard, Coy, and one of the little Joe Craps guy, and we ate breakfast, and then we wanted to get on the table, so he got on straight out and started rolling it a couple times. We didn't do any good, and then we got up and left. Anyway, I went home and I started. And I'm like, how does he do that? So take the dice, do it this way, do it that way, do it that way. Okay, and broke it down. Finally, started you know shot it. One day I was at a casino and I was throwing it at the Cromwell from straight out. Somebody saw me and they apparently took the class with Joe, but they didn't recognize me. So they told him. So he knew that I was going with Howard, and we stayed together. So he went and started yelling at Howard, and Howard swore up and down that he never showed me the shot, and he
Right.
never did. He never did. I picked it up from the guy. And when the guy found out, he's like, no, there's no way. We spend hours teaching people this shot. There's no way he picked it up from that one point. I'm like, dude, I don't know what to tell you, but Howard never showed me that shot. So anyway, yeah, Howard got in trouble. Poor guy, and he still gets blamed for it. By the way, he still gets blamed for it. But I will swear on a stack of Bible, he never showed me that shot. I learned it from the other guy. But anyway, um, Cage, I knew him back when he was tabletop.
I was going to
Uh,
say he used to go by the name Tabletop, correct?
tabletop 1 2 3. We used to talk a lot and stuff like that. And he lives around in my area, so he's been over to the house many times. He's very very cool guy. We played on this table. So he came over one day, and he's challenged. He's with his hand, his fingers. So he
Yeah.
needs to kind of get shots that he can grip and shoot. He came over and he's like, "Hey, I'm doing this chopper toss." And I'm like, "Chopper toss? What the hell is that?" He's like, "Is that like a chop toss? What?" He's like, "Let me show you." So he started throwing this, and the dice were like leaning and going all over the place. And I'm like, I don't. Is that something you came up with? He's like, "No, no, no. Somebody showed it to me, and they call it the helicopter toss in Vegas." I'm like, dude, that's not a helicopter toss. The helicopter toss, the dice stay straight and they go like in rotation, not like this when you were doing it. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, you need to stack the dice, and This is how you throw it. Now, I throw it okay, right? But he he threw it a couple times. He got the gist of it. That boy went home and must have practiced the crap out of it because that shot looks beautiful. I mean, it's almost that dice flies in the air, horizontal, spinning like a helicopter. The
Yep.
blades rotating. But when he came over, it was a kind of like almost a par shot that's on its angle. And
Yeah.
I told him, I said, no, it's called the helicopter shot or the chopper because it needs to rotate. He's like, well, how do I make him rotate? I said, well, it's your finger placement and how much pressure you put, whether you hold it from the edges or you hold it from the sides. And like, I can't hold it from the sides um, because of my sweat. So I hold it from the edges.
Yeah.
And then you don't spin your finger, your wrist. If you spin your wrist and your fingers, you're going to put more velocity and it's going to go all over the place. You choose one, and you got to do it in a motion, you know like a flick. And I told him, I said, take a chip and flick it over there, and if it's flat, then you're doing it right. If it's crooked, then you're not doing it right. Next thing I know, he's tossing it like a beauty. I mean, like perfect. He called me up and he's like, "Man, I can't thank you enough. That shot, I'm making a little bit of money in the casino." I'm like, "Well, dude, you're welcome." But yeah, yeah, good old Cage. But you know what? Again, credit to VDC for he's the one I think that came up with the shot. But credit to Cage, he practiced the hell out of it. I mean, I know he practiced and practiced and practiced because that looked nothing like what he was showing me at home.
Right. I've never seen VDC throw it, but I think I could be wrong. You can tell me. VDC probably puts a little more air under it than Cage does. Cage has more of a line drive, clack clack stop. I mean, I
Cage,
can listen to his videos, and I know if he did it right because it goes clack clack
yeah.
stop every time.
So Cage puts the swing motion, not a swing, but kind of like a drag and then up. BDC and I, we it's straight from the flat, from a strict position from here, and then like a click. So
Okay.
it goes a little bit higher. But it's okay the way he does it because he keeps it low. When it goes higher, you lose the velocity and the dice may go off angle. So it takes a little bit
Yeah.
better control to do it that way. Not that you can control the dice, but, you know,
I
just the velocity of it.
I would say that Cage has the perfect cruise shot where you've got to touch the back wall and they don't care if you hit the diamonds or not because
Yeah.
his will just kind of stop right there at the base, or bounce off the flat of the wall. So I'd call his like the most perfect cruise ship craps toss that there is, probably.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I agree, and I'm glad you mentioned hitting the wall because casinos, they don't have too many rules. They got a few simple rules. Don't hold the dice with two hands. The dice can't clear the table, and you gotta hit the back wall. You know, they have a few other rules, but some of them are smaller casinos are more anal. If you're setting the dice and just they think that you're somebody, they may say don't set the dice anymore. But
Yeah.
um, people have different experiences, and the people that have played with me, can attest to my experiences. My experience is, if you treat the dealers with respect, you get respect back. And you treat them nice, you put betting on them and follow their rules. You'll get, they'll leave you alone. Now, I've had one or two, especially in at Boomtown,
Huh.
where my buddy from North Carolina, and I, we killed them on that glass table several times. Um, I had a 62 roll hand on it twice. No, I had a 54 roll hand. He had a 62 and a 78,
Wow.
and
Wow.
I mean, I remember playing one time, and he wasn't doing anything wrong, but the supervisor came down, and he's like, this came from above, the video people. You hit the back wall every single time, and he's like, he's like, I just want to make sure because they told me to tell you. And he looked at me, and I'm like, dude, I don't know. You've been hitting the back wall. Just make sure you keep hitting the back wall. Um, but sometimes people will, but for the most part, if you're treating the dealers nice, you're not, working them to death, off, on, off, on, off, and all that stuff. You're going to. It doesn't matter. I've hit, the all tall small several times. I've got, coach, not coach, but Gage has seen pictures
Yeah.
where, I've hit, I've hit him with $100 on it, with $200 on it, and I did not hit him with $200 on him many, 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 many times. It's but they'll give you the money. I've walked away with 20,000, 30,000 just from the all small because I hit him. You go to get and they give you the money like this.
Yeah.
But they usually don't. If you don't, if you treat them good, they'll treat you good. So, but he has a shot that hits the back wall every single time,
Yeah.
and that's why I don't think he gets any pushback from it. I don't think anybody bothers him with it, even though
Right.
it's, he has to set the dice and stuff like that, because he's following their rules, until they start making up the rules on the table, and that's when, what, it's time to go.
Yep. I agree. Because I got stopped one time at Bally's there, the Bally's that's now the Horseshoe, and I was having a great. It was one of those trips like you were talking about. Now it wasn't as good as you had, but that whole trip, mentally, you're on, and you're the lion looking for the prey the whole
Yep,
trip,
yep,
and in Mississippi, there's no fire bets on any of the tables I play.
yep,
Uh, and so I was, betting all tall small all weekend, but on all those tables that had the fire bet, I was purposely trying to set a different point every time. I wanted to see if I could hit a fire bet, and I could never get past the fourth fire bet the whole trip. But I mean, I was making point after I was making all kind of numbers. But I'm in Bally's, and I had hit like I had hit 2 points in like 5 or 6 shots real quick. I mean, boom, boom. I hit the points on the fire, and I remember setting the four as the point, and somebody on the other end said, "Oh, that was a pretty shot." As soon as that person said that, the box man come over and told me. He said, "You can no longer set the dice."
yep. I
And
believe it.
so, you know, I was like, "Excuse me," because I knew I was kind of getting ill on the inside, but I also knew there was fixing to be a problem in that I couldn't throw the dice, and I wanted to make everyone else at the table aware that I wasn't going to get to set the dice, and we were going to have a problem.
Yeah,
And so I had him repeat himself, and I said, I don't understand. I can't hear you. There's too much noise. I was making up excuses. And then I finally said, okay. And then I looked at the dealer and I said, take my bets down. And she said, I'll just turn them off. And I said, no, that's not what I said. Again, I'm trying to make a point to everybody at the table that things have gone awry real quick. I said, no, I didn't tell you to turn them off. I said, I want my chips back so I can put them in my rack. She did that, and I picked up my odds and I put that in my rack. I picked up the dice and I turned facing the other way, and I threw them over my shoulder, and I hit the four. I hit the point.
it happens. It happens.
Yeah,
There are many times, when I had the pit boss say, hey, you got to do it this way, and then I make the point or something like that. It happens. Casinos go like this.
Oh yeah.
At, at one point, Bally's and Paris were really good, and then they kind of Bally's and Paris. Like I remember going to Paris, and as soon as you start sending the dice, before you even did anything, the pit boss will stop you, and the gaming supervisor will come and say, "You're gonna do this, 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 this," and you look at him like, "Dude, I let me do something wrong before you tell me I did something wrong." I know the rules, but so they go. It's gotten to a point where some of these casinos I don't just go to anymore, and maybe that's what they want. I don't know, but um, in Biloxi, I don't think other than Boomtown, I don't think I've had any problems, and we've been there several times. My buddy from North Carolina and I, um, several times. We do our my play has not changed. It's still get up early in the morning, go play on empty tables up to a certain time, and then just go do whatever during the day, and then
Yeah.
just take fun money and play at night.
Right.
Um, back when the Three Musketeers, myself, my buddy from North Carolina, and Aloha Johnny used to hit the tables early mornings in Vegas. Um, we just go around. If we stayed downtown, we'll do downtown. If we stayed over at the strip, we'll do the strip. Um, Heck, I don't know if I need to show the T-shirt or not, but for
You,
my
you got a T-shirt to show me?
well, it depends. Did Aloha Johnny tell you what he did one time for my birthday?
No. Let's see it.
No, maybe I should. Then no,
No,
maybe I
no.
should.
Let's see it. Come on. Let's see it. I can edit it out if I need to, but come on. Let me see it.
so for my I think it was my 45th birthday. He went and got me a T-shirt printed, and he gave it to one of the dealers at Vinion because we did our routine to give it to me as a gift. And when we walked up, the dealer is like, "Hey, I got a gift for you for your birthday," and I'm like, "Huh?" He's like, "I want you to wear it also." And I'm like, "Wear it?" He's like, "Yes, you gotta promise me." Then I go,
Yeah. I hear an echo all of a sudden.
"Yeah." So maybe let me step back a little bit. He's like, "You gotta wear it. You gotta promise me you're gonna wear it all the time in your morning play." The dealer gives me a T-shirt and says, "You gotta wear this during their whole morning play." And good old Johnny Boy got me this T-shirt,
It, I can only hope for hard for. I
and I don't
love
know
it.
if you can, I don't know if you can read what the dice says.
Terribles. What does it say? What does it say under it?
It says Terrible's Hotel and Casino,
Ah, I can only hope.
and
That'd
then
be John.
in the back,
AARP asked me asked me about synthetic Viagra. So did you
and
wear
my
it?
God, I wore it the whole, and people would stop in Vegas and says, "Oh, you're so cool. Let me take a picture." And I was so embarrassed, but I wore it. I wore it. And I told them I'm burning this T-shirt, but apparently I lied. I still have it. It's been like years and years and years. Um, but no, Aloha Johnny and I, and Bubs, we'd go and have fun and play, and sometimes it didn't matter whether of course you like to win a lot, but even if we didn't win, we won a little bit. We'd had fun. um, and we would hit them and always end up at the Las Vegas club. We always and then they destroyed it. I remember the last time we played there. um, if I had known that they were going to destroy it and rebuild something else, I would have tried really hard to get a layout or something like that as a souvenir from them. But I didn't know at that time. At that time, nobody knew
Right.
that. But I remember the last time playing there. But we go to Four Queens and play there. And Four Queens, they have those ridges at the end of the table, on the bottom.
Yeah.
So you kind of throw your dice in a place where it's right before or after. If you hit them, they'll go all over the place. And it's, if you put your hand, you can feel it. They dragged, the saw,
I
and
guess
they
that's to keep people from sliding the dice like they used to do a long time ago.
yeah, but they, I mean, they got over that when they put the metal bars in the middle.
Yeah.
But no, that was all the way in like towards the
Oh,
end of the
okay. All
table
right. Wait.
on
Up
both
again.
sides.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got you.
yeah. I remember I used to I had an underhand toss that I would, hold the dice like this and throw it underhand,
Yeah.
and it would. And I remember, if you if you bet $5 on the hard way, you were okay. If you put $10, like two $5 chips, I would hit one of the chips. That's how low. And sometimes, dealers would say, you're sliding the dice, and I'm like, dude, I'm not sliding. I mean, when you're sliding the dice, they don't roll at the end of the, they slide all the way to the end. But
Right.
mine would go, and then when they get close to the back wall, they would hit and roll. And so finally I stopped using it because people thought that I was sliding. But that's how low it was. um some of the tosses, it's easy to slide. Um but I figured, hey, I actually, for a long time, I left stick right one or stick left one, and went to straight out, just to kind of lessen um the heat, or whatever you want to call it, if
Right.
if it ever comes, right?
Yeah.
um but but for the most part, I shoot with my right hand on stick right. That way, I don't shoot with my left. That way I don't hit the stick and give him room. Same thing
Right.
with stick left. I shoot with my left hand.
Really? You shoot with either hand?
Yeah,
Wow. I
yeah,
can't do
leaving
that.
leaving room. So, so most people that've been on the table, people seeing me shoot, they'll tell you, from here, it's always like this,
Yeah.
leaving room. That way they don't say my hand went into the middle. I try to give, to give the dealers minimum stuff to look at, to get on, right?
Right.
um some people, I think they like to get yelled at because, from the moment they walk in, they're pissing off the dealers.
Yeah. Yeah.
um
There's a lot of people walking in there looking to pick a fight with the dealer as soon as they get to the
yeah,
table. Seems like.
yeah. um but no, I've played with Dice Coach. uh I played with Howard. Man, rock and roller. There was a period, a few years ago, where I was between contracts at work, so I wasn't working full time. I was doing contracts, and I did two contracts back to back, and I just needed to take a break. And we would just go to Vegas pretty much almost every week or every other week. I was with him for like 3-4 months in a row, hitting the tables in the casinos, and just going out. And I don't know if people went out with Mr. Rock and Roller, but um, not only do you go play, but you go see the canyons. You go on sightseeing. He likes to go and to the theaters and
Yeah.
stuff like that. You know, away from the table, which was nice. But I guess if you're gonna be there for a long time, you can't. I keep, one thing that I say, and Heavy likes this because it's true. You can't live in Vegas and play like a tourist.
No. You. That's 100% right. I love it.
And so, back then, I mean, Howard has a condo over there, and I was pretty much almost living in Vegas because I was there like almost every week, if not every other week. And so, we didn't do the play that we always do, go in and just kind of bet stuff like that, because you don't want to end up and your bankroll. Um, but but it was a good times, with especially when he walks up and he's like, "Oh, the bounce changed. I'm gonna use my so and so." A man with 1,001 tosses, and each one has a name,
Oh
and
yeah,
he remembers the thousand names. I don't know if I'm exaggerating 1,001, but I'm 1,001 Shahrazad, right?
right.
1,001 tails. But he has names for all these tosses, and the guy's good. Heavy, he's pretty cool. I haven't seen him in a long time. I haven't been to the casino in a while. Work and personal life gets in the way. But first chance I get, I'll go and play with these guys. I got a chance to play with Dimango, or House of Oranges,
Yeah,
last year, um, literally a few weeks before he passed. I didn't even know he passed, but my buddy from North Carolina and I were in Biloxi, and we saw him. He looked in bad shape, but we had breakfast together. We sat down and ate, and I said, "Look, I know you're getting ready to go, but I'd love to just shoot dice with you one last time, one more time." I didn't say one last time. I said one more time before we leave, and I did that, and I will cherish that. Life's too short to be mad at this person, mad at that person, and when you can get out and play dice with some of these guys, go do it, because
yeah.
you never know, that would be maybe the last time you see them.
I,
um the,
I I got to play with House of Orange one time
yep,
down at. He and I played Scarlet Pearl, I think it was,
yep, he liked the Scarlet Pearl. He liked the
and
IP and the Pearl.
I think we may have gone and played at the. I think he was staying at the IP, but I ran into him at the Scarlet Pearl, and I think we went back and played at the IP as well. He was a nice man, and I did not know he had passed away until you told me.
Yeah. Now I'll tell you, he was a diehard for Bone Track,
Oh yeah,
and and give credit to credits due. I believe Mad Dog started it, and then Nate took over and finessed it. Um, a lot of people have different opinions about it. Um, I I learned to do like the dice changes in my head on the fly, seeing how my dice is doing. Some
right.
people can't do that. It's good, you can document what's happening at the table, go upstairs, put it in Bone Tracker, and then it tells you, hey, use this toss next time. Of course, things change. The casinos, next time you come in, the layout may change and stuff like that. But it's good if you're trying to hit some certain numbers that you can't hit to hit the ATS or something like that. It'll give you an idea of what to do. He was a diehard, and he was very good at it, and he lived by it. And to him, that was his passion. and
Yeah,
many times he'll even before, when several years ago, when we go down there and I'd see him, and he like, yeah, I gotta go put my stuff in Bone Tracker so I'll know what to do tomorrow morning. um you know um but he's been over to the house. Him and Cage actually came over one time, and we went out and ate. So yeah, I was very sad to hear that he passed.
yeah, that is sad. I mean, I enjoyed. We only played. We played before breakfast. We had breakfast at the Scarlet Pearl. Then we went to the IP and played. And I think that was the last time I saw him, and that was, it was since COVID, but it wasn't too long after COVID. It was probably 2 years ago or so. Last
Yeah,
time I saw him.
yeah. The
So
old the old the old timers in this game are truly, the heart and soul of this. And I can tell you, Dice Coach, he doesn't mince any words. And he'll tell it to you like it is. And I love that. And he and I have had many conversations about many things, crafts and others, and life in general. Some that you can't have conversations with others, but simply because Dice Coach is the kind of person that you can do that. Heavy is the kind of person that you can talk to about stuff. There are different types of players, different opinions. But some of the old timers in this game, you know, I told Howard a long time ago, and I wish he would do that. You know, he's not getting any younger, and at some point he's not going to be able to do the tosses that he does. He needs to record that. He needs to record all these tosses so that the new generation and everybody coming up, they hear about, just like we hear about, you know, the captain and stuff like that. You know, I've never seen it. Don't have a picture of it. Don't have shots or anything. You know, that that needs to stay as part of the history of the game, you know. And I keep telling him, document it and keep it. You don't have to show it to anybody until you know you can't do it anymore or pass. Then you know you don't care because you're gone. But keep it as part of the history. You know, people, we're all getting old. Heavy's getting old, you know, and stuff like that. There was one time before he had the surgery, Dice Coach couldn't even walk because of his hip and stuff like that. Now he gets up and better because he had the surgery. But you know, I tell Howard, you know, record those shots because some of them nobody will be able to do anymore, right?
Right.
But I, you know, I if I get a chance, you know, I'd like to go and play with some of the guys that I, you know, started learning, you know, from heavy. Um, you know, like I said, Irish taught me how to shoot par. Um, whether we got along together or not has nothing to do with it. He's the
No.
one who taught me how to shoot par. You know, I credit him for that, and he was a good par shooter.
Mm.
I mean, he knew how to throw the dice. Shoot it all showed me how to perfect or make the shot that I use now better.
Yeah.
Um,
Shoot it all passed, what, about 3 years ago, I believe? Something
yep,
like that.
yep. I had a chance to see him in Tunica along with Slow Rider and several others from the old school. And that's the last time I saw him. Um, but yeah, he passed several years ago. Um,
Did you
I
play Tunica back in the day a lot?
Yeah, yeah. Before it started going downhill, that you. So funny how things change. Biloxi at some point used to be a no go. It was just a hellhole, and Tunica
Yeah.
was flourishing, and Tunica was the place to go, and we
Yep.
used to go down there and play a lot. Now it's, you know, it's switched. It may switch again. You never know, but now it's switched. You know, Biloxi is only about six hours from you driving, 5.5 if I take my car. Um, but you know, it's things have changed. But I played Tunica. I know. It was a Gold Strike that just got bought by Indian Tribe or something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Gold Strike was bought by the Cherokees out of Oklahoma. Not the Cherokees that are in North Carolina. It's a different band, I believe. It's a different group, different corporation, whatever. So yeah,
Yeah,
they changed hands about February of this year. I have
yeah,
not been there since, but you know, I still go to Tunica a few times a year. It's a little bit closer. There's not any, you know, the traffic is easy. It's a little bit closer. I've got a great host there. I love her to death, and I should go more because of her, to be honest. But there's just not enough casinos. You know, if you're having bad luck at the horseshoe or at the Caesar's property, you know, I'd go over to the MGM and maybe for some reason that stupid bounce would work that they got on those tables. But other than that, you know, they got one table at Sam's Town now. They got one table at Hollywood. They took the full length tables out of the Fitz and put in like an 8 foot table,
yep,
short table. And then I've played one time at First Jackpot, which is still a Penn National company like Hollywood. Uh, they had one or maybe two tables. I don't know. I played there one time. So, you know, I go and I play at the Horseshoe just to get my Caesars points and because I got a great host. Um,
yep.
I will walk over there to the Gold Strike and play just because they've got generally they got lower limits, but Horseshoe still running $25 tables for the most part when I'm there.
You know, Aloha Johnny went to Tunica a couple times. I don't know if he told you or not.
No,
I remember it because we were there with he was there with his wife. I was there with my buddy Bubs, and we were at Sam's Town, and I was shooting the dice, and Bubs was all the way at straight out, and I think it was Aloha Johnny came over and he wasn't playing, and he asked, you know, hey, what time we're going to dinner tonight, and Bubs at the end says, oh, about 7:30, and guess what? I 7 out, and I looked at him, and I'm like, seriously? Still today, you know, when I'm on the phone with him and talking, and I'm like, don't ask me what time we're eating.
no,
He's
I
like,
would
oh,
not.
about 7:30, and I'm in like right in my motion. And even the dealer says, and I was like on a long roll, and even the dealer looks and it's like, dude, and he's like, oh, what did I say? And I'm like, dude, and then he's like, oh, did I say that? And I'm like, yes, you did. Somebody says, when are we going to dinner? Soon,
Yeah,
or in a few hours.
yeah,
Oh,
45 minutes, whatever, right?
well, 7:30.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tunica is kind of gone to
I mean,
the
I mean,
dumps.
a lot of them have closed down. A lot of them have shrunk. I still love my Horseshoe. I consider the Horseshoe. I guess if you nailed me down, I would say that's my home court. Even though I don't get there as much as I used to. Um, Hard Rock's my place in Biloxi, but I've had so many great rolls at the Horseshoe over my time of playing that it just holds a dear place for me. We went there on my birthday in December, and I think I put it in one of the trip reports, so this is kind of boring to some people, but you know, my wife and I we eat dinner early. So we drove up. You know, it's a half a day to get there basically. So you know, 4 hours or so. We're driving in. We get unpacked. I say I'm gonna go downstairs. She needed a player's card. Get a player's card. Blah blah blah. And I said, and I'm just kind of walking around. I'm like, well, the hook is open on this table. I might as well play a little bit. And so I'm throwing the dice for quite a while already because it's about. I think we had dinner reservations at 5. I mean, we were going to eat dinner early, just as soon as the steakhouse opened. So we're there at 4:30, and I'm downstairs, and I said, well, I'll throw a few times just to get some tosses in and go eat. She comes down at right at 5 o'clock. She says, "You're playing?" I said, what else would I be doing? and I said, "But you go ahead, go to the table. We got a reservation. Um, I'll be in there in a few minutes, I'm sure. I mean, because I'm in the middle of tossing the dice, and she's interrupting me, which is nothing unusual,
Yeah.
and because she doesn't have a clue that you're breaking your rhythm or any of that. Dude, I got on a heater, and she texted me at 6 o'clock. Are you still throwing? And I said, and I stepped back and I went, yeah, I'm still tossing the same hand, you know, and I won probably I think it's right at 8 grand off that one hand. I walked into the end of the thing. She was plastered because she was drinking Cosmos. She'd made real good friends with the bartender, and I walked in and I laid those chips down. I said, "Well, we can go home." you know, I've made my money, but
Yeah, it's interesting when you take the wife to the casino. So the job that I had before for this one, we had a corporate office in Atlanta and a corporate office in Denver, and I used to go to Denver a lot, like
yeah,
at least once a month.
Yeah.
My flight was either Denver, Vegas, Atlanta, or Atlanta, Vegas, Denver. I
Right.
always stopped by in Vegas, either before or after the trip. So at some one point, I was frequently Vegas, like 6, 7 times a year. And when we went on vacation, I always took the wife with me because you get the comps and all that stuff, and we go to Vegas.
Yeah.
And I play in the mornings, and she sometimes likes to sleep late and stuff like that. So it didn't matter. And then we would go and do whatever. One time, and we always stay in the Mirage because I had a host there, and even, I'm not a high roller by any means, but I played enough to where he would just give us like the high roller suite, guest suite, looking over. I think he you
Yeah.
know he liked taking care of us, um, give us tickets and stuff like that. So anyway, I remember one time I guess she got up early and she wanted to go for a walk, and and I was playing downstairs, and she came by and texted me, says, "Hey, I'm ready for breakfast." And I'm like, okay, I was still playing, so I went back and picked her up. And things are bad when you're walking through the casino, and pretty much every dealer on the craps table, like you got three craps tables, know you by your first name and says, "Hey," and your wife it's do you going like, um we gotta talk. When the dealers
Yeah.
are calling you by, I'm like, no, no, I was just here. They know me. And she's like, no. I mean, they would know you, but come on.
Yeah.
So, you got a problem when dealers know you by your first name, and they'll say hi to you when you walk by. Um, but yeah, it's my wife doesn't give me a hard time, and she knows if I'm throwing, sometimes she stands back and just watches. But when I used to go with Heavy and meet him, do meetups and stuff like that and play, she would just chit chat, either with Banker Dude or Aloha Johnny, or with Bubs when we go with my buddy from North Carolina. Um, but there are lots of good people that play this game, and they viewers watching, if you ever get a chance to go, just to see what it is, it's and this is not a by all means, I'm not trying to say, hey, I don't get money back for saying take a class with so and so, but just go and meet these people. you know
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people come over wanting to come in and just kind of play on the table and stuff, and they're like, how much do you charge? And I'm like, look, straight up, I don't want to charge you a dime, because I don't want you, if you win, that's good. If you go to a casino and win, that's good. If you go to a casino and lose, that's all on you. But the only thing I ask them is like, have you taken a class? If you've taken a class, then I know that there's something to work with. But if you haven't taken a class, I send them to Heavy or Howard, or depending on where they are geographically, to Dice Coach. At
Yeah.
least take the class, learn the basics, and then we can come. But I've had people come in, not a lot, but people come in and throw. But if the live videos now that you do, and what Cage does, it helps people. There was nothing like that when I
No.
came along,
No. It was
and
no.
and I was bleeding money left and right, because I just, the only thing there was the forum, and people kind of showed me. But it's people get a chance to learn what it is, and help them save money and stuff like that, right?
Right.
Because I listened to your shows, and I didn't even know Cage had a YouTube channel until he told me that the other day, and he's like, I'm like, seriously, dude, because I don't go, and the
Right.
only reason why I know is because when I met you in Biloxi, I just happened to see you, and we weren't even meeting. I was on my way to the airport, that you remember, and
Yeah.
I
I was going to ask you if you remembered that. Um, I was having to throw from straight out, if I remember correct.
and I was throwing from the other side. I
Yeah.
was doing my drop shot from straight out. Um,
And you were standing next to the guy who built my table from
yep,
Atlanta.
yep. That and I know him. He's a great guy. I've been to his shop. I just happened to notice him. I didn't even notice you. I didn't even know.
You didn't know it was me. You had no idea that was me on the other end.
No, no. I went over there to talk to him, and I'm like, I gotta go to the airport here soon. He's like, well, throw a hand or a few. He's like, I'm with Ed, and I'm like, that's not roll to win, is it? He's like, yeah. I was like, I've never met you. I've never been with you. I mean,
Yeah,
we literally met that one
yeah,
time, and
that was
we've
it.
only played together that one time.
Yeah,
And then I had to run to the airport. But usually I meet up with people when I see them. I mean, the only one that I actually make plans with is either if I know Heavy has a class or something and I'm going to be there. I ping him and I say, hey, let's go to the tables together. Or my my buddy from North Carolina. We go when we go to Biloxi now. It's
right,
been a while. I haven't been to Vegas since 2019, December of 2019, since COVID hit, and I was there at a conference. So Biloxi is pretty much where we do our play. But I just happened to walk by and saw him, and that's when I met you. I mean, it's amazing how things work out sometimes.
yeah. I was paying for my table on that toss.
Yeah, and I was hoping that you would pay me on my way out of the airport, and you only needed one number on each side for ATS.
Was that it?
But
I can't even remember. I just remember I had a pretty good hand, but I can't
yeah, yeah.
remember.
Well, you paid me because there was one number I can't, 9 or something that you just kept on pounding and you saw my pressing. I just pressed, and even at one point Kelly looked at me. He's like, I'm playing this wrong, dude. How come I have one black chip and you're already at 6 black chips on that number? I'm like, that's because I'm pressing and you're just saying you're staking putting your in your rack.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that's how he plays. But I remember you had a good hand, and then I had a good hand, and I made a few money, and I was like, okay, that's it. I'm leaving with a smile on my face. I'm heading to the airport.
yeah.
Um, but it doesn't happen like that a lot. Sometimes you
No.
just go in and heavy's probably gonna kill me for this story, but that's okay. I'm gonna tell it anyway. Um, long time ago, long time ago, we he had a class in Biloxi, and I went down there to help him, just to kind of help him set up the class. And he's like, "Well, let's go check out the tables, just see what we're going to do when we come to the class." The Hard Rock is pretty much where one of the classes usually go in and play.
Right.
So I took stick right one, he took stick left one. Only both of us at the table. Um, and I would toss the dice, get a few numbers, 7 out. He PSO'd 8 times in a row.
Yeah, he's not gonna like you telling that story, but we've all
Yeah,
done it. We've all
but
done it, or I've,
but
I've
he's human, but he was trying something, and he's trying to make sure that where to put the dice. And at one point, I mean, I only started putting past line bet. After the third one, I only put past line bet and didn't put anything on the line because I didn't know.
right.
And at one point, I kind of turned around to him and I said, if you twist your arm a little bit, and he looked at me and he's like, really? That's good advice. I wonder where you got that from. You know how so
Yes.
I knew then that I just need to shut the hell up.
Yeah. 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 He was already
Um,
pissed off. He's already pissed off at himself, no doubt.
but but I remember that one. I remember that trip. I think Howard killed it from straight out. I tell you, I've seen these two shoot. Um, where was it? The Harris in Biloxi. Before it was Harris, it was the Downtown Grand or the Grand or
Yeah, it was
something
the
like
Grand.
that.
It was the Grand Casino.
The Grand Casino.
Yeah.
And I
It was
remember they
across the
had
road. It was across the road on the beach side, and then Katrina took it out.
So I remember one time we had a class there, and we were waiting for the students or the table to open up, and Heavy went on the crapless table, and I was like, I'll just go over there and stand with him. I don't really like to play crapless, so I just started betting like just 6 and 8. He had a 68 roll hand from straight out.
Wow.
The guy was awesome, and you know he's not like that every time, but some of these I'm gonna call them legends because those
Yeah.
are real
They are
legends.
legends. They are.
When they're in the zone, it's a beauty to just sit back and watch. Um, I wasn't there. I wasn't there, but I heard stories, and the people that told me those stories have no reason to lie to me. But in his younger days, Howard was probably one of the top shooters in the country in the
Oh,
country, period.
I believe that. I believe that 100%.
And they told me that he'd get on the table and he would just kill it anytime he walked up to the table. That was before my days. I wish I'd known back then and seen it at least once. I've seen him shoot some beauties, but um, I've seen Bo. Bo has a very, very beautiful toss. He always shoots from the same place, stick right 1.5, and in the hook. That's his style of shooting. Um, I've seen, my Aloha Johnny. I'm gonna tell you.
Please do.
I'm gonna tell you. 777 Casino in Las Vegas. If the dice is sharp, it's a new dice, and the dice is sharp, you might as well take out your whole banking account and put it on the table when Aloha Johnny's playing. He loved razor sharp dice, and he would sit there and stick left one, take his time, put it, and roll it, and he would roll numbers. I mean, we would walk up. One time we went up, and the dice you could just it was rounded, and we were like, dude, eh, don't you have sharp dice? And they would look in the drawer and gave us like old dice that was halfway, and even the pit boss was like, yeah, we haven't rotated them in a long time, and Johnny Boy said, I can't play with this. It was a thing of beauty. He loved sharp dice, and as long as the dice is sharp, he would um he would play. He showed me around Vegas. One time, he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna take you to this place. It's very nice. It's really really nice. It's like festive. It's called the Joker's Wild." I'm like, "The Joker's Wild? Wow." He's like, "Yeah." And you gotta remember, usually when I go to Vegas, this is not bragging, but I usually have like a couple $1,000s in my pocket, sometimes even almost 10,000, because if I want to get on the game and play, I want to play.
Right.
Um, I don't want to run to the room and get it, or something like that. I have it with me. So, so we went to this place called the Joker's Wild, and as soon as we drove into the parking lot, I started looking. Right before we got to the parking lot, it's like, dude, are we gonna get mugged here or something? It's like the streets and stuff. It's like, oh, you're good, you're good. We got into the parking lot, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, where are we? He's like, oh, this is whole casino. I said, okay. So the first one of the first things we do, if some things I haven't been, the first thing we do is go um to the uh, shop, casino shop, so that I can see if they have used dice or something to put in my case.
Yeah. Yeah.
We walk in there. I swear to you, I kid you not. There's this guy. He's homeless or something, and he's opening magazines and newspapers and tearing papers out of it and putting it back. And I'm watching him going like, Johnny, you see that? He's like, yeah, yeah, don't worry about it. I'm like, dude, I don't know. I'm not sure. He's like, look, let's go into the craps table. Let's go into the craps table. We walk into the craps table, and I'm looking at these. I know why they call it Joker's Wild. Because these people are jokers. I mean, I'm looking at the dealers. I swear to you, there was this lady. I call her a lady. That's a better word. She had a, she had, she had a pack of cigarette rolled up here, and every time she leaned over to shoot the dice, she had a switchblade coming out of her brassiere. And I'm going like this, and tattoos and stuff. And I'm going like this, and I turn around. He's like, "Oh, this is a cool place. Just." And I'm like, "For what money? If I said, you give me $100 or something like that, or $20 to bet. If I pull my money from my pocket, I'm gonna get mugged." And and I told him, I said, "Look, you do whatever you want. I'm gonna go sit in the car." He's like, "Here are the keys. If you think it's safer outside than here." And then I look around. I'm like, "You're right. I'm not gonna go sit in the car." Man, I told him, "If you ever do that to me again." And then I mean, it was like sometimes he do these things. Then we went to one other place. I forgot what it was called, but it's where dealers go to get trained. But it's a casino.
Gold
But
Coast?
no. The name will come to me here in a bit. But they literally would let you bet for $1 in that place. So they had dollar bets, and people would buy them for $20 and play $1 and stuff like that. I mean, they had dollar bets,
Yeah.
and dealers were trained and stuff like that. So he tells me, he said, "Look, don't buy in for like, 500,000. Just buy in for $100 here or $200. Don't freak him out." I'm like, "Okay." So I buy in, for $100, and people are playing like making $3 bets on the floor and stuff like that. I forgot what the name. I'll remember the casino, but anyway, um, so I'm sitting there starting to toss the dice. And um, I put $5 on on the 4 and 10, and on the 5 and 9, and $6 on the 6 and 8, just because we're there just to visit. I've never been there. So I hit the 4 and I just take it up to 10. A few rolls later, I hit it, and I tell the dealer, take a quarter. And he looks at me and he's like, "Sir, it's a minimum dollar. You can't have a quarter." I said, "Take it up to a quarter, $25." So he looked at me. He's like, "Really?" So he looked at the bed boss and he's like, "Can he do that?" And the bed boss like, "Yeah." I look at Johnny. I was like, "Dude, where are we? I mean, seriously?" So he's like, "That's the other side of Vegas, man." Um, I forgot what that place was called, but I learned that that's where dealers go and start off until they get better and better. But man, he would take me to these places, and I always felt safe because I knew that he would, something happened, that he'll watch over me,
Yeah.
But some of these places he would take me, and I'm like, "Dude, where are we?" He's like, "Oh no, trust me, you'll have fun." So after a while, I started getting in a car and driving, and I would go pick him up
Yeah.
because I want to make sure that I had the keys to the car, and we'll go wherever we want to go. Um, but we had fun. We had fun. They're good memories to
Yeah.
make.
Yeah.
Um, and especially with Bubs from North Carolina. Um, we just go eat good. We always ate good
Yeah.
and played. Um, One time on we'd always meet up on my birthday. So my birthday's coming up. The entire country celebrates my birthday. It's Memorial
Okay.
Day, Memorial Day weekend. So my birthday
All
is
right.
on 28th. So we will always go and meet up in Vegas on my birthday. And that was the thing. My wife would take off on the calendar. She would just make sure that it's, and stuff like that. So, um, but I, it's just me, and it's really like, from where I'm from, it's something that we do. For our birthday, I like to do something with others and for others. It's just, not everything's for me, right?
Right.
So, So one time, um, I heard that the Eagles were in town, and a lot of tickets were sold out. But I said, you know what? Bubs hasn't come in yet. It was just me and Aloha Johnny there. I said, I'm going to get four tickets, one for me, one for him, one for Howard, and one for Dice Coach. And the only tickets I could find were like way up in the risers. And I said, let's just go watch the concert. And they're like, dude, it's your birthday. We're supposed to be doing that for you. And like, no, no, I want to do that for my birthday. You know, I want us to go out and have a good time. Um, so we went, and I saw a side of Aloha Johnny that I have not seen before. You know, he's always kind of like cool and collected, calm. He doesn't make, you know, that boy was sitting there clapping his hands, and I'm looking at that like, who the hell is that? And I'm looking at Howard. I'm like, Howard, and he's like, he actually has life in him. You know, he's all, and he enjoyed that, and I didn't know that the Eagles was one of his favorite bands, and he doesn't go to a lot of concerts. I think
Right.
he saw Santana one time a long time
Yeah.
ago. That's how old he is. But that was when, you know, but he enjoyed himself. I mean, he really he he he's been through a lot, and I think at that point he took himself out of everything and just enjoyed himself. And when he did, you know, he really enjoyed himself. But um, I was like, man, why can't you be like that when, you know, when I'm at the table and you can just say, come on, hard four, something, you know, instead of just
Yeah.
sitting there. All right, you're gonna hit the hard four or not, you know? Just
Yeah.
get some
Well,
life.
now that's interesting because I played with Johnny a lot in the past. And I've always said there's nobody that can lift a table higher than Johnny because he is chatting up the dealers. He's toking the dealers right up off the bat. I mean, he wants positive energy to be just all over that table.
Yeah, but he's not like, you know, the cheerleader. He talks it up and stuff like that, but he's not very energetic, I guess, that, you know, and stuff like that. But you're right. I mean, when and like I said, when we used to go down to 777 and play, and he had those razor dice, you better bet the hard ways because he's gonna hit the hard
He
ways.
was a hard way. Everybody's always told me he was a hard way killer when he was on.
I would be at straight out, and he would bet, and I would have my bets up, and every time he throw and hit the hard way, he would put his palm like this and go like that, so that I can get a green chip and just kind of throw it. And I'm trying to give it to him, and he goes back and gives it to the dealers, which is fine.
Yeah.
But one time it was he and I and Bubs, and we were at triple seven, and I was at stick right one, and I was setting the hard ways, and I threw a hard four, and well, no, the point was a five or a six, but I threw a hard four, and we were on it. There was another Asian person on the hook, and so I parlayed my quarter. I threw another hard four back to back, and the Asian guy reparlayed. I took, and I threw another hard four,
Wow.
and I was sweating. I looked, and there was like black chips, and Johnny Boy like, oh my god, and Bubs, and people. The pit boss was like, that's three hard fours back to back. Um, I had to take a step back because I was starting to sweat and stuff like that. I set the dice slowly and threw it hard four hard
Wow.
fours back to back. At that point, I was like, and then the fifth one, it was a 5-2 7 out.
Wow.
So it was a double pitch.
Yep.
That was the first time and only time that I ever threw four hard ways back to back to back to back. But for Johnny Boy, he doesn't throw them back to back. But man, he would just throw it. And when he's in the zone, his toss is a beauty to see. Now he won't toss,
Yeah.
he won't throw the dice a lot, but when he's tossing the dice, his power shot, it's a beauty to see, and it lands nice and soft to the end back wall. But he likes it razor, and he is a hard way shooter. I mean, if you're on the table, if all viewers, if you're ever on the tables with him, bet make sure you bet the hard four, well, the hard ways,
Hard
because
way.
he's gonna hit. He's
Yeah.
gonna hit it. He is a hard way guy.
Kind of
Um,
like Banker Dude and the 6/8s. If you're playing with Banker Dude, you better be on the 6/8.
yep,
You
yep,
may not need to be on anything else, but if you're on the 6 and 8, you can win money.
yep. With Bubs, it's the nines and fives. Um, I before I do anything, I hop the five and nines. And so as soon as he gets on the table, I hop the five and nines. Um, we were and people don't know who Bubs is. My buddy from North Carolina. He's not on the forums or anything. But we would go to Boomtown and he just start throwing dice, and I'm all the way to like $1,000 on the glass table or whatever. I'm already, I take it up to $1,000, or just because he keeps hitting that. He likes the five and nines. Um, if I'm in the zone, I get a 4 and 10. You know, you, and which is good because that's where the
Yeah.
money is in the fours and
Yeah.
tens. Um,
Now, because I throw a lot of fives or nines. One or the other is always going to be hot if I'm in a good roll. Um, but on the electronic tables in Mississippi, do they include the automatic buys or do they just play it normal on the electronic table?
that's a good question. I don't know. I don't pay attention to that because I usually just place across, and
Yeah.
I think they do include automatic, but I think there was a lawsuit, and they stopped it in some casinos for a while because some
Yeah, a
of
lot
them,
of them took them out.
yeah,
There's
yeah, a lot
not
of them,
many. There's not many glass tables in Biloxi anymore.
yeah,
Boomtown might be the only one now. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they took it out of the palace or not.
they
Uh,
did, they did. Last time I was there, it wasn't there. They took it out, and a lot of it was because the payouts were not, when if you're in Mississippi, the payouts on some of these are different than if you're in Vegas and stuff like that.
yeah,
And they didn't have the payouts right, and people complained, and they couldn't change them in the
yeah.
settings, and so they took them out. Um, but yeah,
It's interesting that you play Boomtown. I've been there one time, and I've never gone back. I mean, it's kind of like on my no-fly zone. I don't. I mean, it's Boomtown is not even on my radar to go to.
well, because the regular table is a trampoline,
Yeah,
and
it definitely.
the only reason why,
I could not keep the dice on the table.
yep, yep, and the only reason why, you know, Bubs and I go to Boomtown is because when we first went there and saw the electric craps table, um, we were able to kind of see how we wanted to throw on it and did good. And we just kind of kept on going back, and you know, at one at one point, not to use the phrase loosely, but it was like an ATM machine. We always made money on,
Yeah,
um, whether it was 100, 200, or whether it was a couple of thousand. Um, so, but we started getting, because we were, people recognized us and stuff like that. We started getting flack, and so, but Boomtown, until my buddy took me there. I've been to Biloxi, I don't know how many times. I've never gone there simply because it was on in a place where I didn't think, am I going to get mugged in the parking lot? I mean, if you remember, it's this little hole in the wall someplace,
yeah. I mean,
you know.
I went there with my wife, and she come back. I'm literally still. I'm throwing the dice for the first time, and two out of three tosses are going off the table, and
Yep,
she's like, "I don't like it here. I'm going to the car." I mean,
yep,
she did not like the vibe there. So as soon as I got through with my hand, I colored up, went to the cage, and I've never been back in the place.
yep. So we took, when first time my wife went to Biloxi with us, we actually met her at the airport, and took her to the hotel and put our stuff there. And I said, yeah, let's go. We're doing our run. Took her to Boomtown. In the parking lot, she didn't want to get out of the car. And definitely, as soon as she walked through the door, she looked and she's like, no.
Yeah,
And we turned around and left. It's she just didn't like the vibe.
yeah. I don't
You
like the
know,
vibe either. So I don't ever go. I just do not go. I'll go to the IP next door to it
yep,
almost.
yep. I love the
Yep.
IP. I tell you, one of my favorite places is the Palace Casino.
A lot of people love the Palace. I've had some good rolls there, but I have totally sucked there at times too.
Oh,
Uh,
I don't think I've ever had a good roll at the Palace, but I like to go because it's smoke free
yeah.
and their buffet is really really good. And
The
so
line gets long for that buffet right before it opens. It sure does.
I play to get the comps so that I can go and get the buffet. You know,
Um,
I take that back. I've had some good nice rolls, but I don't honestly I don't go there to play craps. I go in there and put some money in the slot machines, and stuff like
well,
that, so I can go.
they've got the original payout on the ATS there, which I think is the only one in Biloxi that does.
Yes.
So that's an attraction. That attracts me to want to go play it. But if I'm not on, I'm leaving and I'm getting the heck out of there. I mean, I'm either going to be on or I'm going to be off. And it's kind of that way at the IP. The IP has got those really hard surface tables.
Yep.
I mean, it,
Yep.
it sounds like you're hitting slate. I don't know what their base on that table is, but they crack. And
Yeah.
you want to like it. You hear it and you just like, I want to like this table. But you're either on or you're off. And for me, I mean, it's there's no in between. I'm either PSOing or I'm having a nice hand.
Yeah.
And if I'm not having a nice hand, I just hit the door, because you're not on with it. And for me, it's a love hate relationship with that table.
Yeah. IP is one of my favorite places. Harris has got nice. They tend to change their layouts a lot, so you don't know whether it's going to be
Harrah's is
bouncy.
real bouncy. I was just there a couple of weeks ago. It has gotten super bouncy.
Yeah, when they put the layout, and I don't know if you know that or not, but um, the 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 tighter you stretch it, the bouncier it is.
Yeah.
So they stretch it a lot, and it takes a while for the bounce to settle. That's why it's bouncy. Um, I like to yeah the Hard Rock, but Hard Rock doesn't have any bonus bets, but their
No
tables are
bonus bets, but they're my favorite tables. If they had the bonus bet, I'd just live there.
yep yep. The Beau Rivage, it's a hit and miss with me. Um,
Yep.
the the Pearl, I played their tables. I've had like one or twice good rolls. Although I stayed there a lot. But I get a lot of my comps from there from the slot machine, just like at the Palace. I played the Golden Nugget a couple times. I don't know if I like it or hate it as far as the table is concerned, but that's because I only played a couple of times there.
Yeah. I when I first started going to Biloxi, I played there a lot. Got a lot of comps. Stayed there one time. The rooms were fine, but they don't have the bonus bets, and they took the bonus bets off, and they're pretty darn bouncy. Now,
Yeah,
22 inside or 220 inside that you might know of, he likes that table.
he likes bouncy tables.
Yeah, I mean he's got a really soft toss though.
That's why.
Yeah, he's got a really soft toss. So, anything else you want to go over before we wrap it up for the night, man?
I don't know. You already embarrassed the hell out of me in some of these stories and pictures. Uh, no, I don't know what else you want to talk about. Saw some of the layouts, and that's my craps table with the Mirage on it, and
I mean, you got a whole room full of layouts all the way around you from the
yeah,
blackjack tables.
yeah, the blackjack here, and I have a couple of blackjacks over there, and Legos through the entire. I don't know if I can. Let me see if I can twist the camera just a little bit so you can kind of see. But I'll do it slowly that way.
That's nice. You've got a very odd shaped room down there.
Yeah, but here's my Tuscany, and here's my Titanic Lego. Um,
Oh wow.
I actually, yeah. So I'm into Legos. But, I actually, when we built the house, we kind of set up the basement. So I'm just gonna make sure. Hopefully, you can see all the Legos over there.
Oh my gosh, man. Yeah.
And then when you twist it that way, you can see some of the layouts and the cars.
Yeah.
So all these are like Lego cars. I can't see the camera, so hopefully I'm pointing in the right
Those are
direction.
Lego. Tilt it up just a little bit. I want to see a little higher. What's that
Like
about?
that.
Okay. Yeah. You got. Yeah.
So all these are Legos.
Yeah.
All the
Really?
way, yeah, all the way to the motorcycles over there. Those are
Oh
all
wow.
Legos.
I didn't even know they did that stuff. There's a cat.
Yeah, there's the cat. She's like, hey, she thinks that's her table now. Um, but but yeah,
Great
I'm.
room. Great man cave, man. Great man cave.
Yeah. Oh, do I? All right, cat. You gonna
All
throw some
right.
dice? Well,
Well,
I enjoyed it, and hopefully, some of your viewers will enjoy it too, and
they're gonna love it. They're gonna love it. I know they are.
some
Anybody?
of the good stories.
So I appreciate you taking the time to spend a night with me, just going over your history and what you do. I really, really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, and that's probably the first time I've ever done this in my
I'm sure
whole
it is.
history, because I like I like to stay in the shadows and stuff like that. But hey, it's good to tell stories. It's good to, for some of your viewers don't know about some of these guys, and they may get on them with the table. But I think again, when I came into the game, we didn't have these videos. We didn't have any of that. We had the
Right.
forum. That's about it. And
Yeah.
you had to go out and meet people. So what you're doing and what Cage is doing, telling people about the craps game and stuff like that, it helps. It helps. It helps some people
I
coming
think
into
it
the game,
does.
and and socializing. People see you, they recognize you, and they'll go and want to have play a game with you on the table, or even or just have a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Um, I if people recognize me, if I'm on the casino, people recognize me. Come over and say, hey, have a cup of coffee with me. If you want to play a round of craps with me, that's fine. But I can't tell you if we're gonna win or lose because I don't know. If I
It's
knew,
craps.
let me put it
It's
this
cra-
way: if I knew, I wouldn't be here tonight with you. I'd be on a yacht somewhere, or on my own
right.
island.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. But it's the best game in the casino, and it's the best way to build friendships and camaraderie amongst a
It
group
is.
of people that I know of.
It is. It is. It is. But I appreciate you doing the series and looking forward to hearing all the good stories from the old. I pretty much probably know most of them
I'm sure you do.
from the
I'm
guys,
sure you do.
but it'll be good. It'll be good for the viewers to tell their tale. I know. I don't know if you're gonna talk to Cage or not, but he's got some good tales to tell. He's
I'm gonna try to get him on if I can. I'm trying.
that, good luck with that. I mean, I can call him and force him, but he's if you ever get him, he's got good tales.
Yeah,
He's lived a good life. He's got some good tales to tell.
I want to get him on cause you know, me and him played together one time. I want to play with him again, and he's coming down. I think he's coming down to Biloxi in June when I do my meet and greet with the other
Yeah, and
viewers or whatever.
I'd love to be down there because I know you told me about it, but I don't from work. It's just right
Yeah,
now. I mean,
there's gonna be a lot of folks down there, so
yeah,
there'll be other times.
there'll be other times definitely. I mean, we did this right in between me flying out and flying back in, you know, from my contracts.
Right.
But no, I appreciate you doing the series, and yeah, I mean, a lot of your viewers may have some questions and stuff like that, or you know, they'll come and ask you, and you know who to call.
Well, they can post them down below when we get this posted. I don't know exactly when that'll be yet, but they can post questions, and you'll have to go in and check it and answer it.
You have to show me how to do that because
Ah, you're
I'm
an
not.
IT guy, man. Come on,
No,
you're an IT guy.
I am, but you know what? I swear to you, I'm not on any YouTube channels. And I'm not signed up to Twitter or any of that. I have a Facebook account, but I hardly use it. Um,
Right.
simply because like I said, I just stay in the shadows. I don't do that. So, but we'll I guess I will need to sign up to your channel at some point.
Yeah. Come on in. We'll
And
welcome you with open arms.
come
All
on
right.
into the dark side, huh?
Yeah. Come on in. I'm gonna stop
All
the
right,
record.
everybody. I just want to thank Gargoyle one more time for coming on and sharing his craps journey with us and the history behind what he's done. If you're liking what we're doing, you need to hit that subscribe button, but you need to hit that bell because we're going to be doing this series for quite a while. I appreciate each and every one of you for watching. Give us a like. If you've got somebody you know that I need to interview that I haven't gotten to yet, send me an email, roll2wincraps@gmail.com, and we'll see if we can get them on there. Till then, we'll see you on the next show. Go practice like you play like you practice, go roll to win.